Hey guys, how's it going? Thrills on Wheels here, and today I want to show you my 80 series Landcruiser. So it's a 1995 model with the 1HD FT automatic in it. I've had this thing for about a year. I bought it off a lady whose husband sadly passed away with cancer. And it was pretty well loved and pretty well looked after. I had a couple mods already done to it, and I've done a few things too. So I'll take you through a run through of the car. We'll start with the front and the exterior. We'll do some of the interior and the engine, and yeah, let's get into it. So starting at the front end here, we've just got the factory bull bar, aluminium, which isn't really ideal. I'd like to change it to steel, but at the same time, it's lightweight and this thing's very heavy, so I probably need to save weight where I can. We've got some spotties here. I'm not too sure what brand they are, but they work all right. And we have a Runover 13 XP winch. I've used this thing a bit and it's been good for what I've done. Holds up really well. It still has a air actuated free spool on it, which isn't connected. Previous owner put that on, but I'm gonna just put the manual thing back on it because running air lines to this is just small things to go wrong. Just adding complexity that isn't needed. So I want to try to keep it simple and just put the manual knob on there. We've got a GME UHF. It's the GME XRS Connect model. This is on the car when I bought it. It's got the short stubby antenna on it, which is good for hilly areas like the Vic High Country where the signal needs to get up and over the hills. And this is pretty easy to replace, and just unscrew this one and put the long one on, which is good for flat open plains. And I've also got that one just sitting in the back ready to go. We've got some clear indicators here. I'm not too sure where they're from. They might be eBay, but they were on the car when I bought it. Usually they're just completely orange. So that's a nice little touch there. I've got some rated recovery points here that just screws in or bolts into the factory position where the factory tie down points are. So these are actually rated to, pull yourself out with a snatch strap if you get stuck, which the old 80 doesn't get stuck. So yeah, don't really need these. Up here, we've got the J-Max snorkel from J-Max Engineering. This is a nice little kit. It's a short entry, so it comes in here rather than over there. Yeah, this thing's pretty nice. It's powder coated black, and it's got the J-Max logo on the inlet at the top to stop things from getting down. It mounts just onto the A-pillar here, and yeah, had no issues with this thing. It looks nice and does what it needs to do. Up top, we've got a light bar here. The brand is Defender. So I don't know where that's actually from, but this came in the car when I bought it. I just got some Bush Company mounts. It mounts onto the rooftop tent, makes that nice and neat, and the power just runs down the A-pillar there. It's pretty seamless, you can't really see it. But yeah, between the light bar and the spotties, they work really well at night. And yeah, you need to light up the road, especially when you're driving at dusk or dawn when all the kangaroos and things are out and about. Moving on to the side, we've just got some stock side steps here. They're pretty useless for protecting the car, but they do make it nice to get up to the tent and into the car and things like that. I've got some rock sliders on the way, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be getting rid of these and putting the rock sliders on because I get super nervous when we're doing some rock crawling and we come up against big rocks and things. It just, yeah, one little knock from this will bend, it'll smash the sill in, and that's going to cost a lot of money to fix. So got some rock sliders coming. On the driver's side, we've got the Cruiser Company lift-up window as well. This is the early model one. I believe they've got another version now where they've changed it and they've got a more updated version. But this has still worked great for me. Got a bit of another sticker collection going on here where I'm just getting stickers from all the places that I visit, like Tasmania and whatnot. So hopefully one day this will be full. But in this side, this is where I saw my dual battery my Red Arc DC-DC 40 amp charger. Got a fuse block here for if I start mounting lights and things like that on this side of the car. And then the power runs from this side to the other side of the car where I've got the King's control box. I've also got a ARB dual air compressor. Cocky's allowed. And that's just going straight up to here. I've got an outlet for pumping up tyres or blowing things off or whatever I need it for. That displays the pressure. This is like a regulator for the diff lockers. And then I've got 3 solenoids here. One's a spare. And then the other 2, one's for the front, one's for the rear. And then the air just goes, to the front or to the rear diff. On the left side here, Cruiser Company lift up window. I'm starting a bit of a sticker collection, just of some brands that I've used on the car and whatnot. Aussie Arvos, these guys are legends, love their videos. I've got power going to the awning up through the side here, and the power's also going to the tent as well. And going through here means I didn't need to drill through any metal part of the car. It's just plastic trims and stuff, even though I kind of destroyed this trim when I was taking it off, so that's a bit of a shame, but easy to replace. So underneath, I've got the King's control box here, just a small one, and I've got switches for the fridge and rooftop tent, my awning lights, and that's a spare one there. We've got the USB 3.0 fast charger, swap that in. But I've still got to tidy up this side. As you can see, the air compressor was mounted on this side. So this is obviously still a work in progress, this car. And in the side here, this is just where I store stuff, fishing rods, toys and food for our dog, and just all miscellaneous stuff. So super handy having that extra storage and ease of accessibility as well. These are awesome. So when I bought the car, it just had a stock rear bar, KMR rear tyre carrier, which is great, but I've upgraded to this beauty. This is a Cruiser Company rear bar. I love their stuff, as you can see. These things are awesome, super solid, looks really good too. It's not like super boxy and square, it kind of follows the lines of the body underneath here like that. It's got good clearance. I added the optional side hoops to the side. That was like, an extra 100, 200, 300 bucks or something, can't remember. And it's got modular arms. So this arm here has mounting points in it, and you can swap out the tyre carrier or the jerry holders, and they make a couple other bits and pieces that you can mount on these arms as well. So that's just nice, you can chop and change it around. I've got the dual jerry can holder. This is where I store my water. So I've got 20 litres of water, and the outlets come out on the side here, just with the little taps. So I've got one outlet there on the other side. We've got a light on the rear as well, which comes with the rear bar for the number plate. And I've just got some roof nuts on the back for the number plate here. So got threads in there, and the bolts just screw straight in. Over on the spare wheel, I've mounted the drifter bin bag. This thing's awesome. I love this thing. Lots of cool features. I did a lot of research on what bin bag I wanted to go with, and this one ended up ticking the most boxes. Got a big bin compartment. It's got a pocket on the front, which is where I store my gas for my stove and some recovery gear, snap straps and things like that. At the back here, we've actually got a slot for the max racks. So that's super easy. Easy to get to. It's not up on the roof. Doesn't matter if it's dirty, muddy, just slides in and out. There's no fuss really with that, which is nice. And yeah, so super good quality zips. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but yeah, I just like the bag, so that's a good bit of kit. So when I bought the car, it also had this spoiler on the back, plastic spoiler, so decent quality. I don't know where it's actually from, but it looks alright. I've got some solar screen here, which I put on. That fits like perfectly to the window. It's got all the suction cups on it, and it helps to keep the fridge cool at the back, but it also helps with privacy. So no one's going to be snooping to see what's in the back and, you know, get any ideas about wanting to steal anything. So that's, yeah, just hitting 2 birds with 1 stone there. So another thing at the back here, I've just got the recovery shackle. This is from Chaos or something, I think. And I've also got the Nava trailer plug at the back. Nice and easy to get to. I've also got the Bush Company rooftop tent. It's the AX27 model. This is one of the early models which actually had the east-west bars underneath. And that means that I was able to reuse some old roof rack mounts just from a King's roof rack and just bolt them straight onto the bottom of the tent. And obviously it saves weight. You don't need a roof rack, and it also keeps the tent a lot lower as well. These tents are expensive, but they're really good. I love these tents. I had a soft shell one before, and that was just a pain to set up and pack away. But this is pretty quick. Everything's really good quality. And yeah, so far I'm happy with it. I've had it for almost a year now, I'd say. I'll give you a quick rundown of the tent. I'll open it up so you can have a quick look at it. But if you want to see more of it later, I'll do a proper full rundown of it and give you the pros and cons. And if you're thinking about buying it, maybe it might help you make your decision there. So like I mentioned before, we've got the roof rack mounts just to the side, bolted straight onto the bottom underneath. I put some support braces underneath there as well. And another great thing is that it has the extrusions on the side there. So as you can see, you can put a bolt in where the hole is and then drag it across and have the thread sticking out. And then you can bolt whatever you like to the sides. So that means you can bolt, you know, like the light bar, or I've got these sail tracks here, one there and one there, and I use them for the shoe bags. I've also got an eyelet just here, which I use to strap my 270 awning back onto the side. And yeah, you can, you know, the possibilities are endless. You can mount whatever you like on the side. Bush Company sell a lot of accessories and stuff, so you can mount things like max tracks and shovels and all that. And on top, you can probably see it sticking up just above there. On top, we've got extrusions that run all the way from front to back. So there's one on the right side there, one on the left side. And so you can mount solar panels or max tracks on the roof, or you can get like racks that run horizontally sideways. So with these sail tracks here, like I was mentioning before, what I actually use them for is for shoe bags. So I got these shoe bags from Darchi, and it's got the sail track at the top here. So you can just slide that in the side, and then you've got a spot you can put your shoes in when you get up into the tent. So this is the ladder here. It's just a standard roof top tent ladder. It's not the best quality, but you've got a plate here which slides onto the mount just there. And finding the actual hole is kind of difficult sometimes. Just like that. So that locks in place. And then you just pull it down. So the best way to open this probably depends on your setup. But for me, I just open up the rear and I step on the rear bar. You've got these over-centered latches here on the side. Push it up. There's a strap in the middle that keeps it all in place. I leave this bottom section open a little bit so I can get a hold of the rods. And then these rods go onto the eyelet, then into the mount on the side. And then do the other side as well. And that's it, job done. Rooftop tent is ready to go. And then I just turn the power on. It's got a light in there, a fan in there. It's a nice place to be. It's pretty comfy. I've got a 100mm mattress, all my bedding, pillows, blanket, You can keep spare clothes up there. There's a lot of room. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown of this thing. But if you like what you see, you want to see more, let me know and I'll do a full review. I'll give you the pros and cons, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and it might help you make your decision on if you want to get something like this or if you want to go a different way. Packing it away is a little bit trickier and it's a lot nicer to do with 2 people. I think that's mainly because I've got all my bedding and a thicker mattress and pillows and all that in here. So it kind of wants to bulge out the sides a little bit. But I'll close it for you guys now so you can see what's involved with that. So yeah, there it is. There's closing the rooftop tent. A little bit more involved, like I said. Takes a little bit more time. It's easier with 2 people, but I think considering what you get, it's still not too bad. And compared to a swag or a full tent, like a tent that goes on the floor, this is a lot easier. For wheels, tires, and suspension, we've got some dynamic D-hole 17x9 Steelies. These are on the car when I bought it. So are these tyres. They're Yokohama Gerlander mud terrains. 35 inch, 35 by 12.5. And they've been good. They're a real aggressive tyre. They're a little bit noisy on the road, but they grip awesome. They're really good in the sand. They're pretty good in the mud. And yeah, I guess we'll see how many kilometres I actually get out of them, because I've done a fair bit of road driving on these things. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with them for what I've done with them so far. They also bag out really nicely when you let the pressures out. I've got the factory Toyota 80 series center caps. They fit really nicely on the dynamic Steelies. One day I just thought I'd try pop them on and bang, they just went on perfectly. For suspension, we got Dobinson's 2-inch lift. So that's the 2-inch springs and remote res shocks. These are on the car when I bought the car, so I'm not too sure about a lot of the details with these, but I probably need to figure out what spring rating the springs are, because I've added a bit of weight with the rear bar and the rooftop tent and things like that. So I'm going to check that out. Underneath here, we've got the Superior Superflex radius arms. There to suit the 2-inch lift that the car's got, and it just fixes up the geometry, makes the car drive, true and straight. And they were on the car when I bought the car, so I can't really compare what it would have been like without them, but the car drives perfectly with the lift and everything. There's no issues with it, and it flexes really well. I did have an issue with my sway bar where the link that mounts onto the diff, the weld snapped off, so had no sway bar for a while on the front and it drove like crap. I hate it. I know a lot of people do that and they think it flexes really well and whatever, but it drives like shit on the road. And after putting it back in, it's night and day difference. It drives so much better with the front sway bar in. Another nice little bonus about having the late model 80 series is the bigger brakes. So the front brakes are a fair bit bigger, and it gives you that extra stopping power that this definitely needs because it's pretty heavy. So I'm happy I've got them. So I'll take you through the engine bay now. And like I said, it's the 1-inch DFT engine, so it's got the 24 valve head, which flows a bit better. Bit better fuel economy, bit better power, more tunability when you start getting bigger turbos and things like that. It's still a basic setup under here, but got a few little goodies, and hopefully soon I'll get a few more goodies. So I'll show you what's going on in here. Alrighty, so first of all, we've got the J-Max airbox here. which is coupled with the J-Max snorkel. It's very dirty in there. I've got to clean the air filter. And the intake runs just down there like that with a bend in it. It's pretty good. Pretty easy to get to the filter, just undo all those and the whole top panel lifts off. I've also got a Direction Plus catch can. I'm not too sure if this is really the best idea to have on an engine like this. I've heard things where it causes positive crankcase pressure, but with the tests I've done with it connected and disconnected, it doesn't get any more blow by with it on. So at the moment I'm leaving it on, but we'll see how we go. It's got the factory radiator, which is the best option. The aftermarket ones just don't work as good, don't last as long. And yeah, from all I've heard, these are the way to go. So happy with, I've got a pretty fresh one here. I've got a PDI front mount intercooler. And as you can see, the piping just runs around and down underneath this side. You got to cut a hole, then it goes to the intercooler. Comes across with the 90, cut another hole, and then it comes up through the other side. And yeah, I bought the full kit, comes with everything you need. It is kind of expensive, but it's nice just to have a kit that rocks up. You got instructions and you just bang it all together. There's no stuffing around with mounts or anything like that. I've got the isolator for the winch here. So whenever I go out off-roading and I need the winch, just flick that one on, flick it off to isolate it. I've just got a single battery up front. There's none on that side. And I've got the fuse there, which runs to the back of the car where the dual battery is. And also we've got some diff breathers there, which I've obviously got to mount properly. It's still a bit of a mess in here. I've got a couple little bits and pieces I've got to do just to tidy up all the electrical and things like that. But it's not looking too bad under here. It's all right. It's got a rebuilt injector pump, rebuilt injectors about 20,000 Ks ago by the previous owner. So that's really nice. Also, timing belt was changed about 20,000 Ks ago. So I think I want to just get like a small upgraded turbo where I can keep the factory injectors and factory injector pump. Just strap a turbo on, get a tune, and hopefully it gives me some gains in power, which would be nice. It doesn't go too bad, but some extra power would be good. It's also got the quick as clutch fan here. I changed this out just for low speed uphills where it was overheating a bit, and adding that made a huge difference. Drops the temps by 5 to 10 degrees. Again, another expensive little bit of kit, but it's got a billet adapter there, and it uses a clutch fan from a light commercial Mitsubishi truck. So yeah, it pushes a lot more air than the factory clutch fan. For my JRP gauge, got a lot of sensors in here. Got the EGT gauge in the dump pipe just down there somewhere. You can see it coming up here. I've got oil pressure and oil temp down where the factory oil pressure gauge goes, somewhere down there. I've just got a T so I can put both sensors in. What else do I have? I have the water temp sensor here in the top radiator hose. And I've also got boost, which is this one here, just teed into one of the boost lines there. For the interior, it's pretty basic in here. I've got the JRP 14-in-1 gauge, so that displays my boost, EGT, water temp, oil pressure, voltage, all in the same place. So I don't have gauges, all over the A-pillar, mounted all on the dash. It just puts it all in one nice, easy to see spot there. So I mount my phone up here. I've got the Mullet Mods cup holders down here. That's a good little bit of kit, nice and cheap, and it's awesome to actually have a place to put your cups. So being the GXL model, it's full-time four-wheel drive, so there's no stuffing around getting out the car, locking the hubs and changing into two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. It's just always four-wheel drive. It's got the center diff lock from factory, high and lows here. It's automatic, which is something that I wanted after having my last manual 80 series. Autos for four drives are just better, I reckon. You can just relax and not worry about gears. You can eat food, drink, do whatever you got to do, and not worry about changing gears. My diff lock air compressor is here, and I've got the factory Sahara knob here. So to turn the front and rear diff locks on, I just use that factory twist knob. So it's a nice, neat way to use a factory location. So being the 95 model, it has the late model dash, which is slightly different. The whole fascia area here is different to the early models. The fabric's, I think, a bit nicer. It's got a nice pattern on it. I've got my GME XRS UHF mounted down here. There's probably a better spot I could put this realistically, but for now it just lives down the side there. And there is a fire extinguisher under my legs here. It's just in a nice, easy to get to spot, and I think it's something everyone with a four-wheel drive should have, especially if you've done 12-volt electrical work and stuff on your four-wheel drive. This is a good idea to have one of these. I've got the sand grabber floor mats down there. They're really good for catching sand and dirt and mud and not just falling off the sides of the mat and going underneath onto the carpet. This just holds it all onto the mat. So when you want to clean it out, you just pull the mat out, shake it off and put it back in. I've got a dash cam up here with a GPS built into it, and that displays an accurate speed because my speedo is a little bit off due to the bigger tyres I've got. In the rear here, it's pretty basic. I've pulled out one of the seats just for some extra space for storage, and we bring our dog on a lot of trips, so he gets some more space to sleep in the back here. I keep the ladder for the rooftop tent in the back here. Got a seat organiser. This one is from Crashpad. It's all right. It's pretty good. It's a good spot to keep some little bits and pieces. It's nice and easy to get to. Got my axe and spare aerial, and a little base for a bottle jack under there if I need to change a tyre or something on the track. So these drawers are made by the previous owner, but I've modified them to be shorter, and I've put a bit of an angle on the back there. So when both the seats are in, they can still go down and go fully back, and they sit right up against the drawers there. The headrests come into these sections there and there. But this is still a work in progress. As you can see, this is kind of holding my table so it doesn't come crashing down. I've just got jockey straps holding the camping chairs and things like that. So I've got a bit of work to do to put a cage or something there, I think. Moving on to the boot setup in the car. It's getting kind of dark, so I'm trying to do this a little bit quickly. But I've got to open up the arms here, which is a bit annoying sometimes when you want to quickly get something out, but it is what it is. Got the tailgate set up, which is good. I love this on the 80s. You've got a spot you can sit down when you pull over, or you can make lunch or a sandwich on the back. So that's really nice. These are made by the previous owner, so I can't really take credit for these, but they're awesome. They look really good. There's no runners. It just uses Teflon sliders. Nylon, one of those. And I've got the Dometic 75 litre fridge on this side, dual zone. So I keep food on this side and drinks on this side usually. I don't often use the freezer because I haven't really had to on the trips that I've done. But that's really good. It just fits, like there is no clearance really around the sides here. At the back there's a bit of space for it to breathe, and I've put a vent in there as well just so the hot air can get out and it can get some nice fresh air in. For the drawers, like I said, they're on nylon sliders. They're quite big as well. So in the top, I just keep my stove and a couple other little bits and pieces. In the middle drawer here, this is where I keep all my food. I've got the camp oven, a blender. I've also got a little spice rack here where I keep all the spices. And in the bottom drawer, this is where I keep tools, recovery gear, and just all things like that. Things that I wouldn't always need. And this stuff's pretty heavy, so that's why I put it down the bottom to try keep a bit of the weight low, you know. And with this one, obviously as the drawer comes out, it leans down a bit. So there's nylon on the tailgate here, so it comes and slides on that as it comes out. So being that there's no sliders means that, you know, you're maximizing the space, it's less weight, less things that go wrong. And yeah, I think it's really good. I like it. I've got these mounted on the side, just with some Velcro, so that's handy. You can chuck whatever you want there, you know. It's easy to get to. Up top, I've got a 6-foot table, so it's a pretty big one. It just fits in the back here nicely. I do want to create like a little boxed section for this, so I can slide it in and out without having to take out, you know, the chairs or whatever's sitting on top of it. Just makes it a bit less of a hassle to get it in and out. So that's what I want to do soon. The side wings here, this is where the lights were connected to. None of this is connected anymore, so I've probably got to put a new panel here and connect up some new things that I want to put there. I've got a light up here. This is white and amber, and it's got a dimmer on it too. So that's the white there. It's orange, or you can do both as well at the same time. And it's got the dimmer, so you can make it really quite bright, or just nice and dim as well. So there you go, there's the 80. Like I said, I've had this thing for about a year now, and I'm constantly tinkering on it, doing little bits and pieces to it. It's definitely not finished. It's not in a state where I really wanted to show it, but I thought I'd show you guys where it's at now before I start doing little bits and pieces on it, and recording videos on the mods that I do. This is a bit of a baseline for you guys. There's more vids to come. If there's anything that you want to see in particular that I kind of glossed over, maybe the tent, the awning. I didn't even open up the Dash 270 awning, or you know, any other things that the car has. If you want more of an in-depth overview of them, let me know and I'll make a video you know, that's more in-depth on that specific thing. I try to get away as much as I can in this thing. I just record little TikToks and stuff because it's easy, but if you guys want to see trips, trip videos, maybe I can try organise that, try set that up too. The car's definitely not finished, like I said. There's still heaps of things for me to do. I'm always tinkering, and my future plans would be to finish off this rear drawer setup. Lots of little bits and pieces I want to do on that. What else do I want to do? I want to put my rock sliders on. They're coming soon. Maybe I'll do a bull bar, an aftermarket turbo to get some extra power. But yeah, I'll make videos on this thing whenever I put something good on it like that. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'll see you next time.